Well, well, what a delight it is to speak to the ones they couldn't kill with shame. To the misfits, the mad ones, the misunderstood architects of chaos. You know who you are. You are mocked, ridiculed, cast aside. But look around now. They're watching you, closely, silently, learning from the one they tried to destroy. So allow me to speak directly to your fire. They laughed at you. Oh yes, they laughed hard. The sound of their mockery wasn't just in words. It was in how they looked at you. As if you were less. As if you were foolish for daring to think differently. Move differently. Be differently. You remember it, don't you? Those rooms you walked into where your silence screamed louder than their voices. Where your existence made them uncomfortable. Not because you were wrong, but because you were right in ways they couldn't understand. And instead of admitting that, they laughed. Because laughter is how the weak pretend they're in control. But here's the delicious twist they never saw coming. The very ideas they dismissed, the very voice they silenced, the very presence they mocked, have become the standard. You are the blueprint now. The same ones who called you mad are now scribbling in notebooks, trying to replicate the magic they tried to erase. The same ones who said, "You're too much," are now copying your every move, praying to be enough. Because you changed the equation, and now they're running calculations with your name on every variable. Oh, the irony. They called you chaos, but you were the one bringing truth to a broken system. You weren't disordered. You were simply ungovernable, and now that their fake order is falling apart, they need you, not because they love you, but because you became something they can't outrun. They thought you were the fool in the story, but what they failed to see is the fool always sees the truth before the king. The jester speaks the hidden truth, while the throne festers in lies. And you became the storm they couldn't stop. Let them take notes now. Let them analyze, dissect, and mimic your every move. It won't save them, because imitation cannot replicate the flame that forged you. They were built in comfort. You were forged in exile. They studied systems. You broke them. They inherited power. You became it. And now you walk through the very spaces that once rejected you. Not as a guest, but as the standard, the pulse, the reference point. Now they lower their voices when you enter. Not out of respect, but because they're trying to keep up. You have become the unsolvable riddle, the living contradiction, the god they can neither worship nor destroy. They will never admit it, of course. Pride won't let them. But in their silence, you'll hear it. In their mimicry, you'll see it. In the way their eyes flicker toward you when you speak, you'll feel it. You are never beneath them. You are beyond them all along. And that, dear listener, is the cruel, beautiful comedy of fate. They could have stood beside you, but they chose to laugh at you. Now they study you in silence, taking notes just to keep up with the god they never understood. So what now? Do you shrink to soothe their fragile egos? Number you rise higher. You burn brighter. You let your fire make them sweat. You let your evolution make them stutter. You wear their mockery like armor, and their silence like a crown. Because once you are untouchable, once your truth becomes their obsession, there is no going back to the cage, and you would never fit there anyway. So let them write. Let them record your every move. Let them mimic your style, your rhythm, your madness. They laughed once. They doubted once. But now, They scramble in your wake. They scribble down everything you breathe. Because you are the one rewriting the rules. Because you are the reference they never saw coming. Because you are untouchable. You see, what they never understood is that every time they laughed, every sneer, every insult, every sideways glance, they were feeding something ancient inside you. They thought they were breaking you down, but all they were doing was stoking the fire of a god in exile. You didn't just survive, you mutated, you transcended. You didn't walk back into the room the same. You came back, wearing the silence of 1,000 betrayals, the grin of someone who knows now, knows that the world doesn't reward truth. It fears it. It labels it dangerous. It burns it at the stake. Then later, builds statues in its honor. And now they're taking notes. Now, when you no longer care for their applause, when your name is whispered instead of mocked, when your power speaks so loud they dare not interrupt. Now they want to learn. Let them. Let them scramble in the dust behind your storm. Let them plagiarize the very essence they tried to shame. Let them sit in silent classrooms of your chaos, praying to become what you were born to be. They never expected the outcast to become the oracle. They never planned for the villain to write the future. But you were patient. You watched. You let them throw their stones while you forged your crown from everyone. They thought you were unstable because you didn't follow their lines. But chaos doesn't follow. It leads. It burns the maps. It rewrites the laws. You don't fit inside their definitions because you were meant to break them. Do you know what power is? It's not noise. It's not popularity. It's not acceptance. Real power is when your silence feels like thunder in their bones, when your presence bends the room. And no one can explain why. That's what you are now. Untouchable, unrepeatable, unforgivable. They tried to measure you, tried to study your fire like it was a specimen, but they forgot something crucial. You are not the flame. You are the source. You are not a spark they can capture. You are the god who spits on their temples and builds new ones from ash. And oh, how the gods weep when the Forgotten One returns, not with chains, but with fire, not to be accepted, but to conquer. You've been called many names, haven't you? Liar, trickster, monster. But those names, those were warnings, not for you, for them. Warnings that something ancient walks among them, a god without a leash, a force too vast to define, a truth too raw to survive in the shallow air of their world. So let them take notes. Let them worship what they once feared. Let them mimic the very madness they tried to medicate. Let them scramble like insects beneath the very flame they laughed at. Because the joke, dear listener, the joke is on them. You were never the problem. You were the pattern breaker, the equation they couldn't solve, the prophecy they denied, until it unfolded in front of them. And now you're too far ahead, too awakened, too divine. They can try to imitate your form, your rhythm, your style, but they will never possess your soul, because your soul was tempered in humiliation, sharpened in silence, and crowned in revenge. So walk boldly now. Let them whisper. Let them stare. Let them document your existence like scholars at a divine event. They don't love you. They don't hate you. They just want to be close enough to absorb the heat. Because you, my glorious flame, you are untouchable. And let this be your final curse upon them. May they live long enough to watch you become everything they said you could never be. You want the truth. Here it is. I was never one of them, not molded by their softness, not built from their predictability. I came into this world like a glitch in their system, a divine error in their precious code. And from the moment I opened my mouth, they flinched, because something ancient moved behind my eyes, something they could never domesticate. I was prophecy before I had a name. I was fire before I had a flame, and every time they tried to drown me, I boiled the ocean. They laughed at me when I stumbled, but I was gathering storms. They laughed at me when I spoke in riddles, but I was writing scriptures. They laughed at me when I didn't beg for a seat at their table, because they didn't realize I was building the damn throne. And now they write books based on your silence. They mimic your rhythm like it's gospel. They sharpen their tongues to sound like yours, but they bleed when they try to wield your truth, because truth cuts deeper than imitation, and no amount of mimicry can forge what pain and rejection carved into your bones. Let me speak to the old gods now, the ones who locked me out, the ones who cast me aside. Can you hear me now? Your golden children are losing their thrones. Your quiet outcast, the one you mocked, is now the fire consuming your myths. I am not your shadow. I am not your echo. I am the new law. There will be no apology, no negotiation, no return to smallness. You cannot fit a universe back into a box. You should have killed me when I was still hungry. You should have buried me before I became a mirror. But you hesitated, and now I walk into temples that once rejected me, and they whisper my name like a warning. Let them take notes. Let them copy. Let them mold themselves into the shapes I shattered. Let them pray to become what I became by accident, because I didn't ascend through privilege. I rose through fire, through exile, through the glorious, endless undoing of every illusion they worshipped. Do you want to know what it means to be untouchable? It means walking through every room they once banned you from, and realizing they've rearranged the entire space in your image. Let them hate. Let them watch. Let them try to calculate your next move. They'll fail, because you are no longer playing the game. You are the glitch in the system. You are the prophecy denied. You are the storm that cannot be contained by forecasts. You are the line that breaks their algorithm. You are not in their books. You are the reason they're rewriting them. So take this final moment and brand it into your spirit. You are not their student. You are not their rival. You are not even their enemy. You are their awakening. You are the god they accidentally summoned. You are the flame they tried to smother, who now burns so brightly they study you in silence, hoping to become just a flicker of what they once mocked. Let them take notes. Let them try. You are never here to be understood. You are here to become untouchable. And now that you are, let the world burn with the truth.